Cigars in Cinema.
Will you bring in the cigars, please?
The movie review podcast that tackles the smoky side of cinema.
Cigar, mate!
Each week we review a movie that contains in some way, shape, or form someone smoking a cigar.
Cigars.
Fire is good.
We'll talk about who smoked it, where they smoked it, how they smoked it, and we'll probably make fun of them if they have no idea what they're doing.
What are you doing? You never light a cigar that way.
So sit back, light up, and enjoy the podcast that has it all. Cigars.
Cigar. Smoke it.
Smoke it.
Movies.
Say hello to my little friend!
And general mayhem.
My doggy!
Ahoy, mateys! Yar! Welcome to the show. You're spending all me money, SpongeBob. That's our intro from now on.
There you go.
I'm going to be Mr. Krabs the whole time. Yeah, that's weird. Not saying hello.
Howdy, folks, and welcome to the...
Howdy. I'm Texas Dan. What's his damn name?
Big Tex.
Big Tex. Texas Dan.
Texas Dan.
Welcome to the first ever episode of Cigars in Cinema. There's a little bit of confusion right now because we don't know what the hell we're going to say when we open this show. Yeah, I am Brandon Luna.
I'm Randy Rankin.
And this is the first episode of our cigar-related cinema show.
Exactly.
Something we're doing a little different. It's not cinema because we had some issues with that. But
Right.
this is Cigars in Cinema.
Right.
Yes.
Exactly.
So the concept here for the show is that we're going to talk about a movie each week, review a movie actually, that has cigars in it. And I'm going to get pretty detailed as far as where the cigars in the movie for you guys that want to actually get to that part and see them smoking the cigars. If you're that kind of weirdo, I'm right there for you. Freako Suave. So that we're going to do. We're also going to get into some entertainment news in the second part of the show, and then also give you a little preview of what we're going to be reviewing next week.
Exactly.
So it's a little different than our last show. We're not going to be physically reviewing a cigar. We will be still smoking cigars, and today we're smoking a couple of
New
LFDs
that we were given.
by Andy Yaffe. So big thanks to Andy Yaffe. He's
Yes.
the local area LFD rep over here in Texas.
Good dude.
Very good dude, yes. So, Cigars in Cinema, the concept we've been talking about for a long time when we did Calypso Cigar Review, and if you're familiar with us, it's probably from Calypso Cigar Review. But this is just something a little different. Actually, if you are interested in finding out more about movies that actually have cigars in them, you look online, you do the Google search, right?
The Google?
The Google, yeah,
Right.
That's what I'm calling it, the Google. And there's plenty of information out there. The best one probably being the definitive list over at Cigar Asylum. So if you go to Cigar Asylum, which is a cigar nerd forum for cigar nerds, I wouldn't say it's really a nerd forum, but if you're a cigar nerd, you know what cigar forums are. There's,
Right.
Stogie Friends and Puff and all these other, like Cigar Federation, whatever.
Right.
Well, Cigar Asylum has this great list of movies that have cigars in them. It's a running list. People add to it all the time. There's like over 2,000 movies on there. I'm going to put the link to that list in the show notes at the bottom of the show. So if you're looking at us or listening to us on iTunes, iHeartRadio.
They're not looking at us on iTunes.
Yes,
I
they
promise
can't.
you.
No.
Okay.
Well, no, because we're not doing video for this show. But if you're listening to us on iTunes or iHeartRadio or one of those places, you'll be able to look at the show notes and see where the list is. You can click on it and look at it for yourself. And, any help you guys can give these guys, go to the forum, sign up, be a part of that forum. It's a great thing. If you want to add something to the list, if you're just not seeing a certain movie that you think of offhand that's not on the list, feel free to add it, become a part of that actual forum and do that. And, if there's anything that you guys want us to review in particular, you can tweet us over at Cigars in Cinema on the Twitter.
Right.
I said
Is it
Twitter.
The Twitter. Is it in cinema?
In the
IN?
Twitter? No, it's Cigars in Cinema. Yes.
Okay. All
It's
right.
all one word.
Gotcha.
So it's at, that little at symbol, that
I
everybody
get
uses
Twitter.
now.
I'm just wondering if it's
Cigars
like cigars in, like apostrophe
in.
Okay,
Nope.
but it's
I went
IN.
with, I actually got Cigars in Cinema,
Okay,
so
cool.
I was able to get that. Yeah, that's great.
Trying to clarify it up for our
No,
listeners.
that's good. That's a good thing to do. So today is going to be the first movie. We're starting at the A's, and usually when you get into the A's, it starts with numbers and stuff before as well. So we're not going to plan on really doing that. We're not going to start.
Right.
Each episode's not going to be A, B, C, D. We're not going to go that crazy with it. But this is a movie that we both actually enjoy, and it's something
It's
that
very guy-centric.
Yeah, very guy-centric, and it is 3,000 Miles to Graceland.
Exactly. Very interesting movie. Very interesting concept.
This will be where I play the trailer.
This is where you play the trailer.
Yeah.
We're silent.
I'm Kevin Costner. I've got a hairpiece.
I was
I'm
Wyatt
Christian
Earp.
Slater.
No, I'm Kurt Russell. I was Wyatt Earp.
That was White. Oh, we're dueling White Earps. We're buddies now. Let's make a movie together.
Ready to play? Always ready to play. Good.
Here we are at the Riviera Hotel and Casino, and it's International Elvis Week.
It was a night.
The king may have left the building.
I don't know what the big deal is. That porker's been dead for 20 years now.
But two guys have come to steal the show.
Hey, man. Try to think of us as the Osmonds, only we don't get along.
One's got his style.
Hey, Elvis, you look great.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much.
The other has his attitude.
Long time no see.
I'm your partner. Sometimes I actually think you believe you're the king himself. In the flesh.
You stole my car, you stole my money.
You're so paranoid.
Damn it, you almost hit me. You nuts?
Probably. What is it with those sideburns? I glued mine on for the job. For you, it's an actual lifestyle.
So why around the casino?
Because everybody else robs banks.
Time to go to work, baby.
They're taking the act to Vegas.
Main booth, scramble security.
Come on! And bringing down the house.
Hey, man. It's always a pleasure taking care of business with you.
This could have been easy.
Wow, you must think I'm some cheap date, huh?
$3,000 miles to Graceland.
Nope.
No, but I do everything else.
You nasty habit.
Okay.
Okay.
So anyway, so the concept of this movie here is that if you want to give us your version of it,
Okay.
let's see what.
Here's what. Okay, the premise is that Kurt Russell and Kevin Costner were obviously in the same prison, and they had decided while they were in prison that when they got out, they were going to plan this ultimate heist. So they come up with a dream team, basically, of people that they think would be great to help in this heist. And it's like David Arquette, Christian Slater, Bokeem Woodbine.
Mm-hmm.
I think that might be all of them, right?
Yeah, these guys.
And then, of course, Howie Long is the
helicopter driver. These guys should have been wearing red shirts because they had absolutely no part in the movie other than to be dead.
Right.
You know that you can tell right off the bat.
And the way they decide to pull off this heist is to go to Vegas during Elvis Week and rob a bank dressed up like Elvis, because how are you going to know who these people are? Because everybody in town is going to be dressed like Elvis at this Elvis convention. So that's pretty much the setup, or the plot. The setup is Kurt Russell shows up in the middle of a desert, runs into Courtney Cox, back when she was still smoking hot.
Oh, yeah.
And her son, she runs this motel or seedy little hotel off the side of the road in the desert. And he's waiting for Costner to show up with the team. What do you got?
And he hooks up with Courtney Cox. And now, Courtney Cox is in her prime in this movie.
Yes.
I will say that she looked damn good. This is around, it's 2001 was the date of the release of this film.
In 2000,
This is around Season 7, Season 8 of Friends. To give you an idea of the magnitude of star power that's in this movie, you've got Kurt Russell.
Yeah.
You've got your guy,
Costner.
Kevin Costner.
Yeah.
You've got Christian Slater, hot off the trail of doing nothing for a long time. You've got Howie Long.
Costner throws him bones a lot because he's been in a few Costner movies.
You got Howie Long, who,
NFL Hall of Famer.
This is pre-Firestorm, I think, maybe?
No, it was post.
Post-Firestorm, okay, post-Firestorm. He looks really young in this. I don't know what he looks really young.
And he's, of course, NFL Hall of Famer. He's on NFL Fox Sunday.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, he's actually a Hall of Famer. Okay.
Yeah, he is an actual Hall of Famer.
Actual Hall of Famer versus listen to the previous episode to understand what we're talking about.
Right.
Bokeem Woodbine, Courtney Cox, Kevin Pollak has a great role in this. John Lovitz, Thomas Hayden Church. So it's
one of his last movies before he decided to retire before he got this Sideways job.
Yep. So it's got a good cast.
It really does.
To give you an idea of the year that these guys had, you look at the Friends. Obviously, Courtney Cox is doing Friends the same year that Kurt Russell did Vanilla Sky, the same year that Christian Slater did. Who is Cletus Tout? I have no idea what that is.
What is Cletus Tout?
Yeah. And Zoolander. And Bokeem Woodbine had The Breed. I don't know what that is.
Never heard of it.
Courtney Cox was in The Shrink is In and Get Well Soon, on top of Friends.
Okay.
Kevin Pollak was in The Wedding Planner and Dr. Dolittle 2.
Okay.
So he's probably had the most success so far, based on the year. John Lovitz was in Rat Race, Cats and Dogs, and Good Advice. So he had a
good
pretty
run
good
there.
year,
Yes,
too.
yeah.
Yeah. Thomas Hayden Church, Monkey Bone. That's
Not a bad movie.
That's all he's got. Ice-T, who was also in this movie, who had a great role, by the way,
Yeah.
was in 9 freaking movies
9
this year,
movies.
including one with Mr. Steven Seagal.
Really?
So he worked the most out of anybody that year.
Ice-T.
But all these movies no one's ever heard of. They were
Right.
all straight to video,
Right.
I'm a thug kind of guys.
Right.
So, yeah.
What costume have going on? Dragonfly or something?
That was it. This is it. The only
Okay.
movie he had that year,
Okay.
yeah. So
Yeah, but do you think he had Dragonfly in 13 Days sandwiched around that or something?
Exactly, yeah, exactly. So, I mean, these people were all pretty busy around this time. What I noticed about this movie that kind of was odd to me is the director of this movie. How the hell did he get a movie this large? Did you look at this guy's filmography?
Yeah,
He's got nothing.
He was, I think he was an MTV guy or something.
I don't know, but I mean, it just
Okay, the feel of the movie, this is right at the height of Tarantino.
Mm-hmm.
The feel of it is very Tarantino-like, with more MTV-like special effects and,
Yeah, the titles are all scratchy
Right.
looking.
Yeah.
They look kind of grindhousey.
I thought the Scorpion fight was kind of fun.
The Scorpion fight at the end is the most ridiculous
No, at the
thing.
beginning, I thought it was
holds
hilarious.
No point to the movie.
No, it doesn't, but I thought it was
I remember when I
cool.
saw this the first time, I'm like, what the freaking crap is this giant CGI scorpion fight?
Right.
And what does this have to do with the movie?
They're in the
but
desert.
it leads into the first scene,
yeah.
and there is a scorpion theme throughout the movie. So
Well,
it kind
because
of,
Kevin Costner and Kurt Russell are the dueling scorpions.
Yeah, exactly. Kurt, we see Kevin's scorpion tattoo. We don't really
Right.
see Kirk's, I don't think.
Right.
But, it's still, it's kind of cheesy. I mean, the CGI is bad, so
Yeah.
it kind of puts you in a weird, it puts you in one or two moods with this movie. You're either like, oh, this is off the rails, it's going to be
Right.
crazy fun, or
Yeah.
what the hell is this?
Right.
So you got one of two minds.
Right.
And I think the first time I saw this movie, I was like, oh, this is off the rails, it's going to be awesome.
Right.
This time I saw it, I'm going, wow, that's really bad.
Yeah, but it did come out 14 years ago.
Exactly,
Right.
exactly.
Now, the interesting thing was this was not too far after Kevin Costner and Kurt Russell both came off playing Wyatt Earp in Tombstone and Wyatt Earp, respectively. And so I had a buddy who thought Kurt Russell was the better Wyatt Earp. I thought Kevin Costner was. So we were like, we had to go see the movie together.
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
kind of cool. And I liked that the writer. One of them has to be the real bad guy. There's a bad guy, and then there's the real bad guy. And Costner's the real bad guy.
Yeah, and this was really the first time I'd seen him go. Now I have
Full-blown, yeah.
Full-blown baddie. Now,
Yeah.
he has a moment. Now, this is going to be spoilers. I mean, there's
Yeah.
going to be spoilers all over this. Thing is 2001.
Right.
So if you haven't seen this movie by now, stop the podcast, go watch the movie, then come back, because we're going to have spoilers. But he plays a badass. He plays the worst possible human being that you can be, up until one point at the end of the film where he does one nice thing. And I really thought it kind of cheapened his character.
What's the
I
nice
really
thing?
didn't. When he gave the kid, he's like, "Here's the last of the money, kid," and he throws the kid the money.
Yeah.
I didn't really. I mean, they didn't. The kid bonded with Kurt Russell, and
Yeah.
there was that whole thing in the movie,
Yeah.
and it kind of made sense. But he never really bonded with the kid. I never saw the connection with the kid. The kid tried to be funny with him, and he punched the kid in the face.
Right.
I mean, that's how much of an asshole he is.
Right,
So
right.
for him to have that moment of reflection and to do something nice, It felt kind of false to me.
Yeah,
But
well, yeah.
I almost want to know if that was Kevin's choice to kind of lighten the character. That can't be a total asshole, or
Right.
if that was the director's choice, or if that was in the script, or what, where that came from.
Right.
But he really was an asshole in this movie.
He
I mean,
was.
he really
and,
was.
And he and Kurt Russell had some good dialogue, when he. So basically, what'll happen is that once again we're spoiling it.
Yeah.
Okay, so they pull off the heist. Bokeem Woodbine gets shot.
Oh, and I love that Paul Anka was a mob.
Oh,
was
yeah.
a mob pit boss in this.
Yeah,
That
and
was,
he was
awesome.
yeah, and he, of course,
That
hated
was
Elvis.
awesome.
He hated
Yeah,
Elvis.
Exactly. That was awesome.
And of course, you got to see Kurt Russell do his little Elvis accent. Not accent, but what's
His
the word?
Elvis,
His Elvis voice.
Yeah, his
impersonation.
Elvis impersonation. When he's
Yeah.
in the elevator. Like,
Yeah.
you look so great. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Yeah. And then at the end, you got to watch the ending closing credits. He does.
Yeah, they're really great, yeah.
Number and
Closing credits are awesome.
It's great. Okay, so they all meet up at the hotel, dividing up the money. Of course, Costner has to pull I get the dead guy's share. And so Christian Slater has to challenge him, and Costner has that one good line. He goes, "You're forgetting the golden rule." Who was the gold plated gets the gold, or something. Or the nickel plated gets the gold, and he shoots him. It's cool. So of course he turns on all the guys, thinks he's killed them all, escapes with the money. Kurt Russell didn't die. Kurt Russell didn't trust him.
And so he had a
So he had a
bulletproof
bulletproof
vest.
vest on, yeah.
And he lived.
So now he's
to
trying
fuck
to hunt
another
the money.
day.
Oh, they were going to go to a money launderer. Exactly.
Yeah.
They were going to go to a money launderer. So Kurt Russell knew where Costner was going to go with the money. So he's kind of tracking him down.
Yeah.
And there's that funny scene that so Costner gets there first, the money launderer, who happens to be John Lovitz. And boy, does he fuck with John Lovitz, man.
Yeah, big time.
He tortures the fuck out of him. And then one of my favorite lines, though, is when he goes, open that safe. He's like, you're going to kill me if I open the safe. He goes, you're going to kill me, aren't you? He goes, well, not till you open the safe.
Yeah. And I love that Kevin got to use his previous bow and arrow experience from Robin Hood
exactly.
in the film.
Right.
He fires a couple pretty close to John Lovitz.
There's some little scenes you got to kind of pay attention to. That scene where he's taking that quiz on the toilet. If you read the questions,
that was. Do you want to have sex with men? No. Have you ever had rough sex with men? Well, yeah, because he was in prison. The one that got me. So there's a couple moments in the film that are very Tarantino-ish. You know, him going into the gas station, killing the guy, and then the girl wants to go with him, and she goes with him, and she's got these. Get your bubble gum, and she goes and gets her bubble gum. And the scene that grossed me out there was when the bikers are pulling up next to him. Now, did you get a sense that he knew these guys, or was it just
that he did, and he was going to drop?
Probably knew him from from prison or whatever. Right. So the bikers are like, "Where are you going?" He's like, "Here." He's like, "Where are you going?" He's like, "You having a good time?" And then she's in his lap giving him a blowjob. Mm-hmm. He pulls her head up, and they're like, "Oh, you know." But then this is gross. She gives him a kiss. And he gets the cock bubble gum. She was chewing bubble gum while she was giving him head.
I thought about that. Like,
and then he's like chewing cock bubble gum. He's like, "Yeah, baby." I would have been like, "Why'd you give me my cock bubble gum?"
I guess he didn't finish.
I guess.
I hope not.
Yeah, that or his previous, going off the
stuff,
prison stuff. He's a little less worried about it.
There was one scene that's so superfluous, but I liked it.
Yeah,
the whole cowboy cop.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that. Why?
It's so superfluous.
Why
but it was still a fun scene. It was still a fun scene. But
it was totally superfluous. Did not need to be. It was more like the director's like, "Hey, I know this guy's pretty cool. He wants to be in the movie. I'll put him in a scene. Okay, we'll do a showdown. All right, I'm good."
Sure. Coster gets to do a little Western thing here. Yeah. So, okay. Now, there's a little backstory, and then we'll get back to the plot and stuff.
Okay.
He was a first-time director, and he was, I guess, a little intimidated working with Costner and Kurt Russell because they both directed movies. And so he invited them in on the editing process.
Yeah.
And he let Kurt do an edit, and he let Costner do an edit, and he played it for test audiences, didn't tell the audience who did what.
Yeah.
Kurt Russell's wanted to focus more on the Courtney Cox relationship, probably because he wanted to do her more.
Yeah.
And Costner wanted to focus more on the action side of it. And the Costner edit won over the test audience. So I'm wondering maybe that was part of it, just had more action. So
yeah.
That's one.
So it said Kurt. This is going off IMDb. We're going to cite our sources here. IMDb said Kurt Russell's cut was more comedy oriented and focused on his character's relationship with Sybil, Courtney Cox,
right,
while Costner's was more action oriented. And of course, this was Costner getting to be a badass and get to do some action stuff. So I'm sure that's why his version was more cut towards the action side of things. So just so the basic plot is it's a lot of double crossing stuff going on, and Kurt Russell ends up hooking up with Courtney and the kid, who Courtney Cox has a kid, and kind of traveling. It becomes a road movie at this point to try and get the money and get it taken care of so that nobody gets caught. But of course, there is a showdown. So
now Thomas Hayden Church and Kevin Pollak play the cops that are hunting them down.
Yeah.
And the tie-in for the title, and I won't get it exactly right, but apparently wherever they were, that was 3,000 miles to Graceland. That meaning the house, because there's a backstory. This is actually a true story. When Elvis died, in his will, he did declare that Lisa Marie gets all his estate, unless someone could prove that he had a illegitimate child, and then that child would also get to take part in the estate.
Yeah.
Well, in the movie, they declared that when they did this, 2 people tested positive as Elvis's sons. So you're kind of being led throughout the whole movie that Costner's one of them and Kurt Russell's the other one.
Yeah.
So there's that backstory going on. So Pollak and Church are kind of Keystone Cop-ish a little bit.
Yeah, very much so.
And like I said, this movie's far-fetched. Don't get me wrong. It's not it's not the greatest movie ever. But it's fun. It's got a lot of action. Got some good dialogue.
Yeah, it's definitely fun.
And it's kind of cool to see people playing against type. Kurt Russell, of course, was the good bad guy. A little sappy at times, but he was also pretty hardcore too, because he did not want to hook up with Courtney Cox. He didn't want her traveling with him.
Exactly.
He pretty much left her on the side of the road, basically, like, see ya. But he felt bad because of the kid, and of course the kid's got to be one of those stereotypes where he's a badass and he can trick the adults and you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Never been disciplined in his life. You try to discipline him, boy, he's going to turn it back around on you, kind of thing. But
It's one of the few movies with the kid in it that I actually didn't mind the kid. I thought the kid was actually really good.
Yeah,
and the kid had skills. I mean, he's a good actor. He's doing stuff for stealing wallets and shit. That was kind of cool. You know,
right.
That was kind of neat.
And he wore a gun belt with a cap down all the time. You know, which was cool.
I like Costner's little thing. Hey kid, you ever shoot anybody with one of those? That's cool stuff. So this is a neat little fact from IMDb here. The album that Michael autographs, which Michael is Kurt Russell, in the elevator, is in fact the soundtrack to "It Happened at the World's Fair," which is a movie where Kurt Russell actually kicked the shin of the real Elvis Presley.
Yeah, and he really did kick him.
Yeah.
And Elvis's reaction is like, "Well," reception's like, "That was a good kick there, son," or something like that. But how cool is that? You're a kid, you get to play in a movie where you get to kick Elvis.
Mm-hmm.
Then your first real major role is you're playing Elvis.
Yep.
And then you get to come back to it, 25, 30 years later and get to revisit the Elvis thing again.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, that's kind of cool, you know? That's a pretty cool little career span there,
Yeah.
Okay, so this is kind of interesting. During the casino heist near the beginning of the movie, Kurt Russell's wearing the white Elvis suit while Kevin Costner's wearing the black Elvis suit. This foreshadows the good versus evil relationship between Michael and Murphy, which is later said. Yeah, I didn't really notice that, but yeah, it's true.
Mm-hmm.
Many of the scenes were edited out due to extreme violence. The scene in which the security guard is killed by way of shotgun was originally bloodier, and the scene featured a close shot of the guard being shot and the blood spraying from his back. Scene where Christian Slater is shot in the leg was originally bloodier, and the scene where the state trooper is shot by Murphy was also extended. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's... And that's weird because there's a lot of blood in that movie, but they actually edited some of it out. So there's a great ending scene, I think, with the big shootout.
Yeah.
Where Ice-T has his moment.
His little spinning upside down shooting thing. I'm like, wow, really?
Awesome.
Ice-T was like, yo, man, I'll do the movie if I can spin upside down and shoot some people. Like, all right, that's fine, whatever.
And they play it so cool, kind of cool. They do it in slow motion, and Costner's just getting shot at, and they finally catch up to him, and they're playing Elvis's version of My Way.
Yeah.
This is, of course, talking about the end of his life, And so Costner dies to My Way, which is kind of cool, And I love Thomas Hayden Church's line. He goes, I'd have gone out the same way, or I'm glad he went out that way, or something like that, Cheesy, but it still was kind of funny.
See, I think about when you mentioned the whole line about 3,000 miles from Graceland, first thing I thought is there's no way that's 3,000 miles of Graceland because that'd be a lot further. But then I realized, you realize later in the movie that the boat is named Graceland.
Right.
And that's where it was parked in Alaska, which is actually 3,000 miles away from Graceland. So my question is, if it was the boat that they were talking about, why weren't they out at the boat waiting for him? Like giant plot hole, guys. Come on, come on.
Yeah.
And if it is going to be your boat, and you just you were an Elvis that stole a bunch of money, change the name of the damn boat.
Exactly. And then at the end, we get the notion that Kurt Russell probably was one of the illegitimate kids of Elvis.
Yeah.
And he looks more like Elvis than Costner does. Mm-hmm. Now, Costner does not look good in the Elvis outfit.
No. He was a bad Elvis.
Yeah, he was a bad Elvis.
And actually, I remember when I saw this movie originally in the theater, my first thought was that, and I was always kind of on the fence with Costner. Like some roles you can tell he's really into and he does a great job. Mm-hmm. Other roles when it's not his, it seems like his thing is like, if it's not my gig or I'm not really into this and doing it for the money, I'm not going to really do a whole lot. Mm-hmm. He has a minimalist acting thing. And that first scene when the guy from Scream, what's his name?
David Arquette.
David Arquette's making jokes about Elvis, and he stops. He's like, "Who said that?"
Yeah.
Well, I was like, "Wow, you weren't bringing your A game to this movie at all."
I thought he was.
I didn't think that scene was bad.
I thought the scene was
later,
bad. Yeah, go ahead.
Later he's fine. I just didn't think his acting was great in that one little. His reaction to that was bad to me.
It's like fuck Sinatra.
Yeah, I know, but his acting wasn't good in that scene. But it was better as he went along. As he went along, he definitely worked his way into the role.
He would have played that differently.
I don't know.
He was just like fuck you, you know.
Just the way he didn't play it as angry as I think he would have played it. I don't know.
Well, you got to remember. At first, he's not wanting to piss off Kurt Russell, and you get the sense that Kurt Russell's only doing this for the money.
Yeah,
and Kurt's the one trying to give him the look like.
Once they get to the casino,
calm this fucking down.
Exactly. And once they get to this casino and shit hits the fan, I think Kurt Russell. I think his. This is probably cut out, or maybe they didn't film it, but I had a sense that he thought it was going to be a robbery. We've got all this thing planned. It's going to be easy. No one's going to get hurt.
Right.
We got guns, but we're not going to use them. I think that's kind of how Costner probably presented it to him to get him involved, because he was the guy that did all the elevator stuff and all that stuff.
Right. Which, by the way, his part made no sense.
Exactly.
What did he do? He didn't do a damn thing. He just fucked with an elevator.
He fucked with the elevator. He brought the elevator to him. I mean, I don't know. It didn't make a lot of sense to me either, you go with it because it's one of these type of movies. But then he opens the elevator door and there's all these dead bodies, and he's like, you see his face, he's like, oh shit, you know. And like he wouldn't have heard that in the elevator, but yeah, it was just you get a sense automatically that he's not the killer that Costner is. Right. And that there's just a definite division between them. Yeah. But yet at the very beginning of the movie, it's like hey, we are friends, and you're my partner in this. Yeah, so it's pretty interesting. But as far as cigars in the cinema, let's get to that. Actually, that information. We're going to do it here now. So where are the cigars in this particular cinematic masterpiece? Well, at 2 minutes 36 seconds, Kurt Russell smokes what I would probably call a cigarillo or a cigarette, because it is a filtered. It looks like a filtered cigar.
Yeah.
The first time he walks out of the car, he's got what looks like
it's
a cigarillo.
It's a homogenized cigar.
It's a filtered cigar. Right. Then at 4 minutes 40 seconds, same thing. Howie Long is officially the only person in this movie that actually smokes a cigar. At 12 minutes 43 seconds in, Howie Long has a cigar when he's waiting for him at the helicopter. Now I don't know about you, but the way that Howie Long holds a cigar looks really odd to me.
Yeah.
He was almost holding it like Bob Dole holds a pen. He was just like, I'm Bob Dole. He's holding it like this. I'm like, are you burning the shit out of your hand? How are you holding your cigar like that?
That's weird, because I thought he was a cigar smoker. Maybe. I don't know. Yeah.
But it just maybe it was just holding it really like it was almost like it was up too far close to his face.
Like
it was almost like he thought it was a closer shot than it was, because it's a far back shot of him. It's like just it's pants up,
right?
And he's holding the cigar like right by his face. It looks really odd to me. But then he puffs on it and it's fine. But I was just laughing at the way he's holding the cigar. Like it doesn't look like he knows how to smoke a cigar. And then at 1 hour 20 minutes in, we get the obligatory, "Hey kid, you want to smoke cigarettes? Let's smoke a cigarette." Right. Where Kurt Russell takes off the filter and the kid pukes all over the place.
Right.
Which I'm sure has happened to many people all over the world.
Right.
So you definitely get along with that story. That makes sense, yeah. So, but that's it. Nobody else really smokes any cigars in the movie, but it's there. So for those cigar nerds that want to see Howie Long smoke a cigar, 12 minutes and 40 seconds into the movie, you can watch Howie Long smoke a cigar. It looks like it's probably in Connecticut or something. It looked pretty mild.
Yeah, it looked pretty light colored. But I still give the movie a thumbs up just for being a fun popcorn.
It is definitely. If you go in knowing that it's basically just a 90s or it's like a late 90s, early 2000s action movie. It's going to have some cheesy stuff to it, but it's also really, really fun. The action set pieces were well done. The one at the end is fantastic. I mean, just watching Kevin Costner go crazy and shoot everybody is awesome. Yeah. And I think that's probably how they sold the movie to him. It's like, you're going to be a badass in this. And you're going to shoot all kinds of cops. It's like, all right, let's do it. I get to use one of them big guns. It goes. Yeah, you get to do that. That's probably how it was sold to him.
Yeah, I remember when he was being interviewed, promoting the movie.
Yeah,
I think it was Matt Lauer or somebody said, "So how many people do you kill in this movie?" And he goes, "A lot." That's his answer. A lot.
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah, that's a good answer.
Yeah,
because he does. But yeah, I liked it.
It's a fun movie. It's definitely a fun movie.
Oh, and I remember what I was going to say. Yeah, Costner's a bad guy, but I like that they didn't over accentuate either one. They both got a lot of equal lines. If this was like a Paul Newman, Steve McQueen thing, I think McQueen would have been okay.
Yeah,
because he used to bitch if Newman got more lines or something. No, I thought it was very evenly divided. You could see why you would like the Kurt Russell character better. You could see why you would like the Costner character better.
Yeah,
just depending on how you want it.
It's weird because I was so like at a point I was like, get Kurt off the screen. I'm tired of him being a pussy and just the whole family thing. And oh god, here he goes again, kind of schmaltzy,
Right, yeah.
But then, he holds his own later at certain other scenes, and Kevin's just like a badass, and you kind of like, there's parts where you really kind of hate him, like, oh, he's a dick, you know? But then he's also cool, so it's a weird, it has that Tarantino kind of feel where it's every bad guy's a good guy and every good guy's a bad guy, They both, it's two sides of that coin, and you get to see both of it played, which really, those two characters, Kurt Russell's character and Kevin Costner's characters, are really the only two deep characters in the movie.
Oh, yeah.
And they're not even that deep. I mean, they're pretty shallow, but they have enough to do that they keep them interesting. And Courtney Cox's character,
she's worthless. She's just eye candy.
She's eye candy, and she's like, "Oh, I fell in love with you the moment I saw you." Like, really?
She's whiny,
just kind of,
she's like, shut up.
She's there because she's got a nice ass and she looks good in that movie.
Yeah,
that's really the only extent of why she
David
exists.
David Arquette's in it just because his wife was in it.
Exactly.
They wanted to work together or something.
And Christian Slater, I mean, those three guys, they were so extraneous they didn't even really need to be there except for that one shootout. I'm surprised they didn't kill them all during the shootout.
Yeah, just have them do that.
Other than they had to have that
double cross
face off later,
Yeah.
So but definitely a fun movie. Out of if we're gonna give it let's do a stogie rating here. How many stogies would you give it out of 5?
3.
3.5.
Yeah,
I go 3. Yeah. 3 stogies out of 5. We're doing stogie reviews, I guess. Stogies. We give it stogies. So but that's what I would give it to. I mean, it's definitely a fun movie. If you haven't ever seen it, and you didn't have a reason to see it, but you like cigars, you know what? Light up a cigar, watch this movie, have a good time.
Yeah,
You'll probably
have the guys over.
You get a nice Toro or a Churchill. You'll probably have it the whole movie, and then you'll be done by the end of the movie.
There you go.
And great credit sequence. Watch all the credits. Kurt Russell does his best as far as Elvis impersonations go.
Right.
And there's some really cool bloopers.
Coster has a funny ad lib.
A little funny ad lib blooper at the end there. Yeah. I love that you can hear the director go, "Leave it! No, stay where you are! Don't do it again!" He's like all pissed, you know. But, yeah.
Okay, if you're a first-time director, are you going to yell at Costner or Kurt Russell? I mean, first of all, Costner's won an Academy Award for directing. I'm not yelling at him, but I'm sure not, yelling at Kurt because I have respect for him. But, but he's pissed that Costner pulls that ad lib.
Yep. Yeah, you can tell just by how he's like, leave it there, stay.
Well, Kurt laughs. Kurt cracks up at it.
Oh, yeah, he does. Now, the guy had done a TV show before, and he'd done one film called Lowball. I don't know what that is. It was probably a straight-to-video thing. 2 undercover cops blow their cover while investigating a heroin ring. It has Peter Green, and that's really all the people I know from this movie.
I forgot about something. This literally just popped into my head. What they did with this movie, this is like right after Blair Witch, so they tried to market it use the internet to market it.
Yep.
And they wrote a web series.
Yeah, I remember that.
A cartoon web series of what it was like when Kurt Russell and Costner were in prison and how they planned this whole heist. And it was like, I don't know, 4 or 5 episodes, like 8-minute episodes or something, and it was animated. And those were kind of cool, and they're hard to find. I tried to find them last night, and I couldn't find them.
Yeah, I think they're on the Blu-ray or something, or they're available that way. But those I was just going to say that's listed in the filmography for Costner, I believe, but they're called something specific. Let me see. But yeah, I mean that's cool. I mean that's something that they've done since then. Usually it's on the sci-fi side of things, like Pitch Black and those movies with Vin Diesel. They had little animated prequels. They're doing that now with a lot of the Marvel stuff. So that's something that's being done now. But at that time,
I'd never seen it.
Yeah, it's kind of a weird thing. It's called The Road to Graceland.
That's right.
Yeah.
The Road to Graceland. So
they're out there if you can find them.
Yeah.
And they're highly entertaining as well. So yeah, overall 3 stars. Definitely give it a try. And if you haven't seen it, I'm pretty surprised. If you also waste of a beautiful car. I mean,
oh yeah,
God, that hurt my soul when I watched that car go into the water.
I know.
Yeah, but overall, definitely a fun flick. All right, so
your wife's gonna hate it though.
Just know that it's not a chick flick at all because women are totally extraneous in this movie and they're seen as objects and that's how they're played and it's very much that tonality to things.
Yeah.
I mean, I think most women die in the movie besides Courtney Cox.
Right. High testosterone.
Yeah, high testosterone movie for sure. Yeah. So get a nice bowl of testosterone and watch it. Smoke a cigar. There you go. So we're going to take a little break. When we come back, we're going to come back with some movie news.
Movie news.
We'll be back. All right, we're back for segment 2 of Cigars in Cinema, and now we have some entertainment news.
Entertainment news.
What do you got, Randy?
Well, on our previous show, or what is the word, incarnation?
Yep.
There was news that NBC had ordered 13 episodes of a Coach reboot, the Coach sitcom from the 90s with Craig T. Nelson.
Yeah, I remember that.
And I was kind of looking forward to at least seeing it to see how it would go. Well, apparently they've stopped it after the pilot was, what's the word, viewed, screened.
Oh, yeah?
They were not happy with it, so they've canceled it already. Never even saw light of day.
Wow.
After a 13-episode order. That's pretty rare.
That must have really sucked.
Yeah.
If you think about it, I mean, that had to suck pretty hard for them to just kind of give up on it.
I mean, it was kind of a weird thing to bring that show back anyway. Because as I was reading on a site, it's not like Friends or How I Met Your Mom, or, well, not that. That's still pretty recently. Seinfeld. It's not like Friends or Seinfeld where people are still talking about the show today from the 90s. Nobody talks about Coach. I love it. It doesn't do well in syndication, It's on Netflix.
Yeah.
But so it seemed like an odd choice to bring that back. But apparently Craig T. Nelson's show Parenthood was so popular that they thought maybe they could ride his recent popularity and turn it back into Coach. But not going to happen. Not going to do it.
Wow, that's too bad.
Yeah.
I mean, my wife watched him on Parenthood, and she loved him on that.
Did I say Parenthood when I mentioned his show?
I don't know. don't know if he did, but that's what the show was. Yeah, but he was on Parenthood.
Whatever that show was. I thought I said
Yeah.
Parenthood, but maybe not. As soon as you said it, I'm like, I don't think that's the word I said, but I don't know.
Right.
It happened more than 10 seconds ago, so I've forgotten.
Because we're old, yeah.
Exactly.
Because we're old.
Exactly.
And in other entertainment news, there was a sadness that's taken over the people that are fans of not only movies but the horror genre. Wes Craven passed away at the age of 76.
Icon, trailblazer,
yeah,
trendsetter.
for sure. I mean, the guy, Nightmare on Elm Street, everybody thinks of Nightmare on Elm Street when you think of Wes Craven, but really, the guy was, before that, I mean, he had The Hills Have Eyes, he had Last House on the Left. He's been doing horror for a long time. Yeah. And just kind of took it to a different level than was really out there at that time. Most of the stuff was slasher flicks. Mm-hmm. And while Freddy Krueger was a slasher, in essence, he had a little more going on.
Right.
So it was a little different than what was out there. And it was definitely something that was he's gonna be sorely missed. I think he's brought something to entertainment that hadn't been there before. Mm-hmm. Brought some uniqueness to the horror genre. And that's definitely going to be missed. And then to bring it back even again.
Yeah, to reinvent it.
And reinvigorate the genre with the Scream series. Yeah, I mean, that's who can say that, Yeah. You look at what guys like John Carpenter did with Halloween. Mm-hmm. John Carpenter never had another Halloween. You know, he had other stuff that he did.
But the thing was a remake of another movie.
Yeah, but I mean, that wasn't something that started. There wasn't a Thing 2 and a Thing 3 and a Thing 4. There was a reboot. There's a reboot of the thing, but that was really about it. But to take that genre and put it on its ear twice. That's pretty out there.
It's impressive. My first exposure probably would have been The Hills Have Eyes. Mm-hmm. I remember seeing that at the theater, the drive-in.
I saw it on video. It was the first time I saw it, yeah.
And then I remember being at the video store, or a video store. It was a Friday night. My dad was going to work late. My mom liked horror movies. I liked horror movies. So we were at the video store. Mm. And I saw this video, and it said, first time released in the U.S. This is like 82.
Yeah.
And it was Last House on the Left. Mm-hmm. I'm like, Mom, this looks... And she's like, I don't know. She says, I don't know if you're old enough to watch that. And I'm like, you took me to see Texas Chainsaw when I was 4.
Right.
I think I'm old enough to watch it. She's like, okay. Right. So we rented Last House on the Left. And to be honest, I wasn't impressed at the time. The cops were too Keystone Cop-ish. I know now why they were.
Yeah.
But, that kind of was so silly that it made me not buy the serious part as well.
Yeah.
Until the very end. When the parents turn... go psycho on them,
Yeah.
That's different. And then I kind of caught it, and I was like, ooh, wow, this is an intense movie.
Yeah.
And the scene with the mom and the one guy,
yeah. I mean, that's one of those movies I saw with my parents, and I was highly uncomfortable watching that with my parents because it was a pretty brutal movie. It's a pretty damn brutal flick for that time. I mean, the level of rape that was in there, and then all the other stuff was it was really graphic and believable. Special effects were all done in camera or whatever. It was all... real-time special effects, no CGI.
Right.
That was the one. If I had one fault with the reboot of Last House on the Left, it was the use of CGI. Most of the effects were in camera, but some of it was a little. But I still, even then, the reboot was pretty darn effective as well.
I liked the reboot a lot.
Yeah, it was actually pretty darn effective.
Actually, got even more intense than I really expected it to. Mm-hmm. Usually, they soften movies nowadays. They didn't soften.
Oh yeah, no, especially at the end of that thing. It was like, wow.
And then we, of course, then he goes on to Nightmare. Mm-hmm. And really, he only did the first one in New Nightmare.
Yeah,
as far as directing goes.
Yeah, he still had some producing and rights and stuff like that. Right. But for the most part, he's it's really that New Nightmare. And New Nightmare, the only reason they came back was because they were going to let him do something different. And for him to come back, he had to go outside the realm of what it was and transcend it. And I think
he really
did.
Get away from it. He did that movie with Meryl Streep. He did some other stuff. A horror
Music
movie
of the Heart.
Yeah, and a movie of his, a horror film of his that flew totally under the radar, especially in the credits this week, when we're reading all this stuff, is People Under the Stairs.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I liked that film. Did you like that?
That was fun. Yeah, that was fun. Everett McGill, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just doing some crazy stuff in that movie, so it's definitely a cool flick.
I liked that movie a lot. And there's a girl that was in it. She was the main girl. And we're being handed cigars. This is always cool.
Yep.
And
it's always good.
The main girl.
Mm-hmm.
I'd only seen her in one other thing, and it was Dabney Coleman's Fox series, Drexel's Class, or whatever. It lasted like 1 year, and she played his daughter. I'd never seen her before. Because I remember thinking she was kind of cute, but she had like this weird mole or something on her eye or face or something. I don't remember that.
This is the People on the Stairs chick?
Yeah.
Oh, you got me, man.
And I had just seen that Dabney Coleman series, and then I saw this movie, and I'm like, oh, this chick's gonna be big, and I've never seen her in anything since.
Was she the daughter?
Yeah.
AJ Langer?
Yeah, that's her name.
Okay, yeah, there you go.
What's she wind up doing? Anything?
I don't know. Let's see what AJ Langer's done in the past here. She was in Escape from L.A.
Okay.
People Under the Stairs. and a bunch of other nothings. Meet the Peoples. Meet the Beatles.
Okay.
I don't know.
There's a classic.
A bunch of nothing. Yeah, a bunch of nothing. So she didn't really do a whole lot.
Yeah. Started off pretty decent.
Really cute, though.
Yeah.
Look at her.
Yeah, she's aged really well. But at the time, there was something about her. I don't remember what it was, but there was something about her that kind of creeped me out.
Oh, yeah?
And then, but I could tell that she had a chance at being kind of hot, but because she was like 12 or 13, and I was like 16.
Yeah.
So it was still okay for me to think she was cute, but not,
in a creepy way, yeah.
But not act on it.
Not
active on it.
Exactly.
Jared Fogle.
Jeez.
No. But, but I thought that movie was really good, and I didn't even want to see it, and somebody rented it, and I wound up liking that movie.
Yeah, that's a cool flick. Flick.
So then he goes to, gets out of horror, and then stumbles upon Scream, or the screenplay. And that, like you said, just reinvented it, reinvigorated it, poked fun at it, glorified it. It was weird how they were able to lump all that into that. And the first three are fine. I mean, I love the first one's great. The second two are okay. The fourth one was horrible.
And a lot of people like the fourth one, so it just depends.
Yeah.
I mean, the fourth one has a 6.2 rating on IMDb.
Okay.
So it's a little bit higher than the third one and the second one, I think.
Yeah.
But it's all personal preference. The third one got a 5.5.
Wow.
And the second one got a 6.1.
Okay.
So it would be first, second, and then fourth, and then third would be last. Now, I think Wes Craven's, my favorite movie of his was Vampire in Brooklyn with, no, it wasn't really. The Eddie Murphy vampire one. His attempt at comedy really didn't work out for him that well.
Right.
But you're also picking up on Eddie Murphy way into his career when he was no longer funny.
Right.
So
yeah.
That was kind of you can only do so much, Wes. You got to give him a try. One that I liked, a couple of his that I liked also, one that I thought was really creepy and fun and well written was Serpent in the Rainbow.
Yeah.
With Bill Pullman. And then Shocker was just a hoot. I mean, Shocker was so stupid. The plot was ridiculous, but it was so fun.
Oh, I forgot.
Mitch Pileggi, where he plays the convict killer that gets zapped into electricity.
Right.
So stupid.
Yeah.
But it was so fun, too. It was just such a weird movie.
Well, we're going to name drop for a second.
Okay.
We were at Texas Frightmare Weekend this past year, and we got the pleasure of meeting Jack Shoulder.
Yes, we did.
The director of Nightmare 2. And I don't know if you noticed on Facebook his comments, but he had nothing but kind words to say about Wes. He said it was a dream to work with. He never got in his way if he wanted anything. And then Wes never, said, "Hey, you're changing my movie. You're
doing it wrong."
Vision.
Yeah.
He backed him up, and he said, "It was a wonderful guy to work with and to know." And it was kind of cool that we got to meet that guy this year.
Yeah.
That was really cool.
Very cool.
And gave him cigars, and it was really cool.
And gave him a little education on cigars, which is real cool. So
it was real cool.
Check out those interviews if you haven't seen those. We got a lot of interviews on the YouTube page and also on the iTunes and the iHeartRadio over at the Texas Frightmare Fest. So a lot of good information there and a lot of good fun stuff. So any other news that you have entertainment-wise? I got a couple things.
Go ahead.
This one's kind of neat here. Rocker Avril Lavigne has split from Nickelback's Chad Kroeger. So
I forgot they were together.
Nickelback's going to be very sad. He'll put out a record of just sadness.
That means their music's going to suck now.
Even more than it sucked previously.
Jeez. Well, now
that wasn't the news I was going to read, but I just thought it was funny. Here's one that's actually kind of interesting. DreamWorks Studios is actually breaking away from Disney, and they're going to be looking at maybe going to Universal. So that's a big move.
Wow. For
Spielberg to walk away from all that Disney money and go over to Universal.
Yeah, didn't the whole Star Wars franchise just go to Disney?
Yep.
So I wonder if he got pissed off. Maybe
well, no, that's Lucas.
I know, that's what I'm saying. Maybe he's thinking Lucas is getting too much money.
I don't know. You never know.
Yeah.
But so that's a kind of a big move there. I think Universal could use a shot in the arm for sure.
Yeah.
Having him go over there for sure. But yeah. Interesting stuff.
Yeah, that would be huge.
Mm-hmm.
That would be very huge.
And Donald Trump hopes to run against Kanye West in 2020. That's going to be the year that we all die in a flaming fire from hell, because that's going to be the end of the world right there. Jeez. What the heck is this world coming to?
I saw something on Facebook, and it was like 2016 Trump and Vice President Camacho.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Terry Crews, just get Terry Crews to run as Camacho. That'd be awesome. I'm surprised those commercials haven't come out already.
Exactly. We're not being political here at all.
Ex-wrestler / porn star Camacho.
But not to be political or anything, but it's just comedy gold to think that a guy who had his own celebrity reality show is actually leading in the polls for president. It's
Yep.
like, really?
Yep.
That's pretty wild.
That's what this world has come to.
Yep.
And I think a lot of it is people saying, wouldn't it be funny if?
Yeah.
But not realizing that could actually happen. It could actually happen, you know? And then what?
Yeah.
And then what
You're
do you
fired.
do? Oh, my gosh. That is a scary, scary thought, people. I don't know. I mean, you know.
I like Trump, to be honest. I'm not
Yeah.
necessarily interested in him as president, but I don't know. I like a guy that just says what the fuck he wants to say, and he's got the money. He didn't really give a shit.
Yeah.
You know, I respect that because I wished I could do it.
Yeah, exactly. I liked Ross Perot too, but I wouldn't vote for him. You know,
Ross Perot was annoying.
He was hilarious.
Dana Carvey as Ross Perot was hilarious.
I would vote for Dana Carvey as Ross Perot. Actually, I think I would probably vote for that. I would vote for Dana Carvey as George Bush.
Yeah, exactly.
Over what we have options right now. It just
that's sad. That's just sad.
That's just sad. It is totally just sad. Wow.
It's a funny world we're living in. What did we get given?
I don't know. I haven't looked at it yet.
CAO Cologne?
I think so. Yeah,
Nice.
CAO Plum.
Cool.
So the rep for
General
General just walked in and handed us a couple cigars. That's always nice.
Thank you, Kenny Bourne.
Thank you, Kenny, so much. Always good to get free gifts.
Yes.
All right. So
R.I.P. Wes Craven.
Yes, definitely.
He had a couple later movies that we didn't get to.
Red Eye.
Red Eye.
Red Eye was pretty entertaining.
Solid. Decent popcorn movie. I never saw the one with Meryl Streep because I try to avoid Meryl Streep movies.
Yeah.
But it got great reviews.
Yeah, it was okay.
You
It
know,
was
of
for a
course.
Meryl Streep movie. It was okay. It just was, you know, it
If
was
Meryl
out of
Streep
the.
farted, she got an Academy Award nomination for it.
She may have for that one.
Yeah, she probably did. Jeez.
Meryl Streep farts. That'd be one of the Idiocracy movies that would come out after the whole. Yeah.
Yeah, have Meryl Streep and Tom Hanks fart, and boom, you got your Best Actor and Best Actress nominations right
Exactly.
there.
Yep.
It's crazy.
I fart their
He's got a
acceptance
new movie
speeches.
coming out that looks interesting, and I can't remember what it is.
Tom Hanks.
Yes.
Oh, the one about the whole World War II thing or whatever.
Yeah, that looks interesting.
Yeah, it looks pretty interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, well, that's going to end our movie news or entertainment news segment.
Right.
And we'll come back for the last third. We're just going to give you kind of a quick little update on what we're going to be doing next week and where you can find us. We'll be back. All right, so we're back for the last segment of Cigars in Cinema. And what are we going to be reviewing next week, Randy?
We are going to be reviewing a classic.
A classic?
Another classic, or another guy movie, but this one is a classic.
Classic guy movie. What is it?
Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid.
Nice.
With the great Paul Newman and Robert Redford.
Excellent, excellent.
Probably the first buddy movie of all time.
Yeah, it's one of the first ones I remember. Yeah,
the buddy comedy movie. Yeah, great. Man, I haven't seen it in a long time. It'll be interesting.
Yeah, it's been a long time
we'll
since
see
I've
how it
seen that
holds
too.
up.
Yeah,
We'll see how it holds up.
I think it'll hold up well. I remember really liking that movie.
The montages were terrible. They were terrible even when the movie came out. But everything else, the dialogue and everything's great.
Cool.
And
so
and
Western.
I've got some interesting stories about that movie too that we can share.
Oh, excellent, excellent.
Oh, by the way, back to the first movie.
Oh, 3,000 Miles.
I had a little tidbit I was going to say. If you watch that movie, pay attention to how Kevin Costner smokes cigarettes. Because he doesn't smoke cigarettes in real life, so he doesn't inhale. So he's literally it's like he's smoking a cigar. He pulls, blows, pull,
puff. Yeah,
it's like and you can tell he's really uncomfortable smoking a cigarette. He just doesn't like it.
Yeah,
and so he, being a badass, should have smoked cigars. That would have been even cooler.
It would have been cooler for sure.
And in this movie, since then, he's had cigars. If he's got a prop, he's usually got cigars now as opposed to cigarettes.
And that's what I was wondering about, like with the Howie Long thing. I think that was that a choice because Howie Long smoked cigars? Was that written into the script? Was that just Howie just wanting business to have
could be added
something
to the character because he's an ex-military chopper pilot? Probably cigar sounds like something this guy would be smoking.
Yeah,
I wonder if it's something brought to the character. I don't know. Interesting.
Yeah, I don't imagine Howie's like, I'm going to bring something to my character. I just can't see Howie Long doing that. I don't know why. Did you ever see that one Firestorm he did?
Nah,
it was like his big action attempt at an action movie thing.
I've started it. Yeah. I mean, to be honest, I never was a big Howie Long fan. I like him better now that he's not playing. I hated him when he played.
Really?
Because I just thought he was overrated. I thought he was a really good player.
Yeah.
And the funny thing was the other day I was bored in the middle of the night, so I was watching an old Dallas Cowboys Oakland Raiders game.
Okay.
From the 80s.
Where the heck do you watch those?
They're on YouTube. They're popping up everywhere on YouTube.
All right.
And I think I heard Howie Long's name mentioned like 3 times, and for a dominant defensive player, he Meanwhile, Randy White for the Cowboys was just all over the place. And I remember at the time thinking, why doesn't Randy White get as much publicity as Howie Long? But which is kind of stupid because Randy White did get a lot of publicity.
Yeah.
But since he's gone to Fox Sunday, I like him. I think he's a very good analyst. Not a very good actor, but
no, he's definitely not a very good actor.
He seems like a nice guy. He seems very affable. He doesn't, doesn't seem like a dick in any way. And I'm saying that because he could kick my ass.
He didn't have a whole lot to do in 3,000 Miles to Graceland, for that matter.
He was just a cool copter pilot or copter
pilot. Yeah, that's a word. Is that a word? I don't know. We're making it up. If
Chopper
it's not,
pilot. Was
there you go. Chopper pilot. That's the word we're looking for. Two old guys podcasting.
That's right.
That's what the show's called. We're changing the name right now.
That's right. Ooh, we should have done that. No. Welcome to
Two Old Guys Podcasting.
Potting.
I remember back in the day when I was a pod person.
I didn't even know what a podcast was.
Right.
Because they didn't have
I thought it had something to do with fishing. Yeah.
Yeah. So the Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid.
That's cool, man. I'm looking forward to that. So yeah, if you guys haven't seen Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, shame on you. If you have, and it's been a while, give it a watch so you can listen along with our review of Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, and we'll talk about all the cigar details in the movie.
That'll be fun.
All right, so we'll see you guys next week.
And where can they find us, Brandon?
Oh man, I don't know. iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spreaker,
Stitcher,
Podcast Land,
Podomatic.
Yep, that place too. And we have the Twitter at Cigars and Cinema, all one word.
I'm at Randy Rankin 43.
At Captain Funky Pants on the Twitter.
There you go.
And if you're all Instagrammy, then we'll have the Instagram with the PDR_Brandon.
AJF Randy.
Probably need to do an Instagram for us.
Yeah, let's do an Instagram one next time. We'll give you an Instagram name next time.
Look up Instagram Cigars and Cinema. Maybe we'll be there.
Maybe.
We'll see.
Hopefully by the time this airs, we will be there.
I'm doing it now. No one steal it.
Anyway, hopefully you guys will join us on this ride, and we'll have a good time.
Yep, it's a good time. See you next time.
Take care.
Take care.